Warning. This podcast is about to open the sealed section of spirituality. Hey you, yeah you, we see you, you divine human being.
And we are calling you to come home.
We are ready to talk about the real shit. We're going to get real about life as a divine human being.
The good, the not so great, spirituality and taboo. Divinely Human is the podcast that's all about what it means to be human in a spiritual context.
We know it's not just about being spiritual, it's about being human too.
And that means changing poopy nappies and channeling angels.
Sometimes even at the same time. It's time for us to stop making other people's noise our own soundtrack of life.
Let's make some waves together so that we can all ride them together and create deep resonance, a sense of home in this crazy world.
Pour yourself a coffee
or a glass of wine if that's your potion,
and sit down with your new favorite spiritual sisters
as we go on a journey together into what it means to be
a divine human being
on this spiritual journey. Hey guys, and welcome to the Divinely Human podcast. I'm your co-host, Aleisha.
And I'm Tanita.
And it is the Pisces new moon today, the last new moon of the astrological year. So, woo! How you feeling?
I'm feeling in my element, to be honest. I'm a Pisces sun, so I feel really good, but I read something last night where it was like, you know, your dreams and your sleep time may be really interrupted. And I was like, no, not for me. Like, it'll be fine. And then literally all night I was just like up. And my daughter saw somebody in our house last night, which was wild. It was like the first time she's vocalized seeing something, because she's 2.5. She'll be 3 in a couple of months, but it was really interesting. And I was like, okay, here we go. Like, this stuff is already happening. Have you had that with your boys?
Wow. No, I haven't.
Really?
No, I haven't. No. The only time that it's happened, I've known that they've just come out of a dream. So they've kind of been afraid of that sort of stuff, but they've never vocalized like seeing anything. Can we have story time? Please?
Yes, we can have story time. Well, she fell asleep in her own bed last night, but then she came into our bed, and lately she's been needing to like get up in the middle of the night and go to the toilet. We've been really trying to get her out of nighttime nappies and whatever. She's doing really, really good. So she woke up and she's like, need to be, and I picked her up, walked into the bathroom, and as we were crossing the hallway, she was like, is that glamour, is that glamour, is that glamour? And I was like, no. Well, that's what we call my mum. She lives downstairs. And I was like, no, sweetie, there's nobody there. And she's like, there's somebody in my house. And she started bawling her eyes out, and she's like, somebody's in the house, somebody's in the house. And I was like, okay, do you want me to go have a look? And then I went and had a look. There was nobody there. And then Junior my dog, heard her crying, and he came in and she was like, oh, it's okay. It was just Junior. But it definitely wasn't Junior. But I'm like, I'm going to let you believe that it was, just because you're so visibly upset right now. But it was hard because in that moment, I just remembered what it was like for me as a kid, seeing things and then my parents not validating it. But also as a parent, I was like, I don't want you to be terrified right now. And there's no way I could logically explain to a 2.5-year-old that you've seen someone that's not there. I just don't know if we're there yet. So yeah, that's what happened. Then I was awake all night, which was fun.
Whew, that is so hard, especially because she's so young, and it's so hard to have a conversation with like a toddler at that age, you know, like,
yeah.
Like with my son now, we're only just starting to have like fluent conversations, and he's 4 this year. So it's like when they're younger, there's just no way of reaffirming with them and kind of allowing them to, I guess, they don't have the capacity to understand what's going on at that age, but they just think that whatever it is, like it's so in this realm, even though it might not be. And it's so frightening. It's so awful. But
yeah,
I feel like as she gets older, it will be easier to validate it and to really nurture her growth around that without actually squashing it, but just kind of, like.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree. I just felt like in that moment, especially at 2:00 in the morning, like, let's not have a full conversation about this when you're like so upset. I think like safety was most important to her last night, but definitely as she gets older, I think having more of those open conversations will be something that I prioritize. But it was so funny. I called my partner up this morning and he's like, what was she crying about last night? And I told him and he just did not respond. He's like, okay, cool, gotta go. I was like, such a man's response.
Typical man's response. Oh my goodness.
It's so funny. He's like, yeah, no, I don't want to know what's going on at our house at 2:00 in the morning. I'm just going to ignore that.
Oh yeah, fair enough. But things have been crazy. I honestly feel like, I don't do well in Piscean energy, except yours. But I think yours is balanced out a lot though, because obviously you're a person, not a moon. So
not just like full on Pisces frequency.
Yeah. You're not like a direct channel just for Pisces energy. Thank fuck for that, because I just don't do well in it. It's the opposite of me, so
yeah.
I just can't.
Where is Pisces for you again?
I don't have any Pisces placements at all. Like, it is abandoned. It's not that.
Which house is it in though?
I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to get my chart up.
That's so interesting.
But yeah, it's just, I don't like it.
Yeah, I can imagine. It is the complete opposite of everything that you know to be true, right? You love to see and touch and control sometimes. And Pisces is just like, surrender. And you're like, fuck no. So
it always throws me off. I feel like it throws me off my little throne here, because in context-wise, I meant like my own life throne.
Queen Aleisha is now ruling.
Woo! But it just brings out all of my emotions, and I don't like that. I just don't like. And it's funny, it didn't even click until I sent you that voice note this morning about, I was like, I am so anxious today. My anxiety is out of control. And you're like, well, it is the new moon and it's in Pisces. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Yeah. That's why I'm feeling so like, yeah. And the dreams. I had the craziest dreams last night. They were all really nostalgic too. So it was just not good.
Can you let us into some of your dreams? I absolutely love psychoanalyzing dreams, but also hearing them.
This one's really embarrassing, a little bit embarrassing. And I'm probably glad my partner doesn't listen to this podcast, because I literally had a dream about like someone that I used to date.
Well, oh my God, if that's not Pisces energy, I don't know what the fuck is. We cannot let go.
Honestly. I'm like, why? Why now? Why are you just walking back in here? Like, this is such a weird dream. But to put it fairly, in the dream, I had no conscious understanding that I was in a current relationship. It's like I didn't even know that my now partner existed in that dream. So it's almost like, I want to say like an alternate reality kind of experience that I had. I've been doing a lot of traveling lately too, so it kind of adds up.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I think we totally do that. I think we totally analyze and tap into alternate realities, especially in the Pisces energy. Like, that makes so much sense. I've had dreams like that too, where I've dreamt about people from my past, like romantically, and I wake up and I'm like, why the fuck am I feeling guilty right now? Like, it's literally not me. I didn't do anything. I have to like talk myself out of my own dream. Like, what kind of fucking disillusionment am I in right now?
Yeah, it was like this alternate, honestly, it was like an alternate reality where like nothing, like where that it didn't end, and obviously the relationship was still like very much alive. So I'm like, now I'm just ruminating. I'm like, why? Like, why? I don't want to carry that around. Like, so yeah, there was that. It was
Very
wild.
interesting.
Dreams are weird, aren't they? And
Yeah.
I think that we as human beings, we do place a lot of judgment, self-judgment onto the things that we do dream. And I think that we need to release that because we can't control it. It's like we can't control how our subconscious mind is trying to make sense of, you know, its experience or its experiences in the past. But I do think, now I'm going to say this, I do think that when we have dreams like that, where we're actually not conscious of like what's happening in our reality outside of the dreamscape, and we are tapping into those other timelines of like, you know how they say like the butterfly effect, like one tiny little thing and your whole life could be different. I think that there is such a purpose behind the reason why we see those things, because I don't even know why, but I just think that it's really important to see that one tiny little thing could make such a big difference in the way that, I guess, the domino effect of your life and how the choices you've made, you know, the decisions that you've stuck by and things like that. So I find it really interesting that we can. And I think that the mind has a specific way of being able to tap into those alternate realities. I truly believe that sometimes it is not just a dream. You are actually tapping into those experiences like that are actually happening simultaneously now to just be able to check it out. And we do, like, humans are travelers. We travel. That's what we do. And it's so interesting. It fascinates me, seriously.
Yeah, me too. I hold a very, very similar opinion to you as well in terms of like, I really think that it's a part of our makeup, not just as a divine being, but actually as a human being, to analyze and psychoanalyze our past, our present, and our future. And our mind is literally wired to do that. I think we put so much pressure on ourselves to do the perfect thing and to think the perfect thoughts and to be the perfect person. And when we have dreams like this that are so out of alignment with our current life, we're like, well, is that me? And we try and find where it's still connected to us. Mm-hmm. But I truly think that it's just our mind in specific situations, like, you know, reflecting on past relationships and alternate realities that just don't feel aligned in this moment. I think it's our mind's way of saying, like, getting ready to release that and just looking over it and analyzing maybe why didn't that happen, or who would you be if it did happen. And I think especially in the season that we're in right now, Pisces is here to forgive and to release and to let go and to not control maybe what could have been and what is now. So it's definitely an invitation. But while I think that dreams are incredibly important and we can use them very spiritually, I also think that sometimes dreams are just dreams and we don't need to consciously analyze them all the time, because it actually wastes more energy in the conscious realm. Like, your subconscious is already doing the work. You don't actually consciously always need to do it as well.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. And it's the same theory, I guess not theory, but belief that I hold when it comes to like angel numbers and stuff like that as well. Like, you don't need to know what it means.
I love the ones. It's like 1212 means like the door is opening and you are going to have a pile of money in your hand in the next minute. Like, I'm
isn't it just a load of shit?
Yeah,
it is a load of shit. And I say that every time anyone asks me about angel numbers, I'm like, they don't actually have set meanings. It's a moment of, I guess, either reverence or reflection, I suppose. And dreams, I think, do hold that as well. You know, I think that a lot of the times, and actually I'll use a great example of this too. So I've learned that during meditations and stuff like that and on journeys, that I've had so many people come to me, they're like, oh my God, like I fell asleep. Is that really bad? Like I fell asleep. And I myself, I was like, I don't actually know if that's bad or not, like whether you still benefit from the meditation if you fall asleep during it or not. So I spent last year researching so much about this. And my, I guess, research concluded to the fact that if you fall asleep during a meditation, then your body and your mind, your I can't even speak today.
I'm curious what that word was.
It was supposed to be soul, but I said spol. Your body, mind, and soul. I think what I read was that it is kind of doing like the work behind the scenes, and you actually need to be asleep for that to happen, right?
Yes.
So when you're thinking about dreams in that sense, you can kind of apply that to your dreams too. Like if you're lucky enough to remember your dreams, that's really cool. But so many people don't remember their dreams, and that is because they're not here to be specifically remembered. They're just here for you to do the work behind the scenes. Your subconscious is like working away, doing the thing, and we don't need to remember them.
Yeah, I love that you brought this up because I totally agree. And what I've learned, because I've also been researching the exact same thing, especially with like my hypnosis training, I love all of this stuff, is that sometimes people have a very overactive logical mind that will actually take them out of the experience if they were to be awake. Their conscious mind is too regimented to really allow in that frequency, that belief, that hypnosis, whatever it is, the meditation, allowing the journey to unfold. And so when you fall asleep, it's your conscious mind saying, like, I trust my unconscious mind, I trust my body, I trust where I'm in right now. It's safe for me to relax and just turn off. And then it actually allows all the other parts of you to be like really soaking up whatever you're bringing in that subconscious state. So it's actually really freaking powerful to fall asleep in a meditation because your logical mind isn't going to talk you out of it. And it's like the same thing with the angel numbers. They mean whatever the fuck you want them to mean. You make that up, right? But if you were to sit there and say 111 means that a really negative thing and you lead yourself into that belief, it's going to mean that for you. But if you sit there and you listen to a hypnosis or a meditation while you're asleep and it says 111 means that you're going to attract abundance, it's going to mean blah, blah, blah. There's no room for your logical mind, your conscious mind to be like, no, that's not true. That's not for me, right? So I think it's really powerful when you fall asleep. It's just that we want to touch and feel and see and experience things that we question whether or not that's true.
Yeah, we're so sensory. We always need to be interacting with the environment. And when I say environment, that includes like, the information that we're receiving in that environment as well. We're interacting and judging and I'm losing my voice. And that's just kind of what we're primed to do in a sense. I think that it is a primal thing. It does go back to, the start of time when we were running around and we had to have all those heightened senses at all times, otherwise we would die. And I think people lived very simply back then, and we kind of don't need to live like that now. And we have so much more room in our life to do spiritual work and work on the soul because we're not fighting for our lives every day. So we can let that go a little bit and release the need to judge and to know and to be fully aware at all times, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. I want to switch gears just for a little bit because I actually wanted to tell you about this and I totally forgot. I was listening to a podcast the other week and it was so fucking funny. I don't know if anybody watches Love is Blind, but totally off topic, but kind of on topic too, you'll see. And they were interviewing Raven, who's like, she got engaged, she got left at the altar, blah, blah, blah. But they were actually talking before they even interviewed her about, do you remember Barney the dinosaur from like the kids' shows, the purple dinosaur?
Yes.
Fuck, dude, this is some wild stuff. He is now, they're redoing the show, they're making it animated, and they were doing a whole article on like, where is Barney now? And Barney is a tantric sex worker who is like advertising to please women's yonis and connect them to divine source by penetrating them and charging these women to have sex with them. And I lost my shit. And they were like saying, do you think they just all want to fuck Barney? And I'm like, this is the wildest. I could not. And I had to tell you because I'm like, I feel like nobody else in my world will get this.
Oh my god. Wow. Oh,
and I'm like, do they have to pay more to like keep this suit on? Like, who wants to be fucked by a dinosaur?
Oh my
I don't understand.
It sounds like he's about to start a cult.
It's so funny. And they were reading out some of his like marketing or like copy, and it was just so funny. I was losing my shit, and I had to share it with somebody because I'm like, I feel so like glad. I'm keeping this in.
I'm so glad you shared that with me because I wouldn't have known otherwise, and I feel like my life has improved greatly just knowing this. It's hilarious.
It's so funny. And like, no shade to Barney, but like, I don't understand what's going on.
You do you. You do you. I think.
Would you pay someone to have tantric sex with?
With me?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good spicy question.
Would you? I'm curious.
Okay. There's some things I need to lay out here. Okay, because I'm not going to dismiss the idea. Okay, so 1, tantric sex is interesting to me. Like, I find it fascinating, and I would actually like to learn it. Like, learn the practice of it, or like just learn more about it because I find it super interesting. 2, if I knew that it wasn't Barney, maybe. But like 3, like I don't funny. Really like. I'm a bit of like a hygiene person when it comes to that sort of stuff. So I'm like, I don't think that I could do that if I knew that this person was out there just
willy-nilly,
literally willy-nilly. Like, well, like I only like willies that aren't nilly.
Yes. Quite literally, right? I'm very, very similar to you.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because like tantric sex is like without penetration, but this guy is like saying, you know, like we'll take it the one step further.
Yes.
Which I just find interesting. But I want to learn the practice too. But there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way nobody's coming near me.
If I was a single person and if I met somebody who was like, you know, really into that and knew what they were doing, then yes, absolutely sign me up. I'll experience that. Let's do it.
Interesting.
But
I feel like,
yeah, if it was just someone that did that professionally and like was going door to door, like being intimate with people every single day, then no, because I think that I would have to have an interest in that person. So maybe if I felt the interest in them, but then like I was like, oh, this is a bit early to, you know, be intimate. But they were like, oh, I'm a tantric sex person. And I'm like, well, you know what? In the name of tantric sex,
let's experiment.
Let's go. let's give it a little try. I am curious.
That's so funny. That is so funny. I feel like, when you put it like that, totally. If I'm like down with the person, yes. Yeah. Professionally, definitely no. I don't want that.
I didn't even know that it was there was no penetration. I thought there was.
No, I don't think there is.
Oh.
I could be wrong. I am clearly no tantric sex expert.
I thought you're going to come out next week and be like, guys, this is what I'm doing. Me and Barney are actually going into a partnership. I'm going to be...
Oh God, it's just weird. I'm sorry. I just find it weird. I just think it's very weird altogether. There's no other word for me.
Yes, it's very weird. It's weird, but also I'm like, I don't want to judge.
No.
But also at the same time, I have my higher self, and then I like to say I have my lower self, and my lower self,
She's
self is like, what in the fuck?
I know. If there's good intentions, I'm all for it. It's just not my vibe, and that's okay.
Yeah. Oh,
well, this has taken a very interesting turn. I'm glad I brought that up with you.
Yeah, I mean, we had to get down to business quite clearly. We had to sort this out. I was so interested to hear, like, anyone who's listening to this, like, their thoughts on this whole concept of, like, being open to that and without sort of, I guess, having to be in, like, an established relationship or anything. Like, would you pay someone for it? Like, would you... We should do a poll.
Yes, let's literally do a poll. I think we were spitballing the idea of like doing a would you rather with ourselves. Ooh. I think we should do a would you rather with the community.
Yeah.
Question every week.
Oh my goodness, yes. We should do that. Yes. Guys, please let us know if that's something that you would like, because it sounds really fun.
Yes.
And we had this conversation as well at the start of the year about, you know, not always having to fit inside that spiritual box, and this podcast not always having to slide inside that, like we just want to have fun.
Yeah. That's really all it comes down to.
There's some fucking fun in here, guys. Come on. We want to have a laugh. We want to have some fun. We don't want to have to give a TED talk every time we jump on, even though we love it. But I think that it's important to sort of bring it down and be on the, I don't know, same level and just have fun with it as well. So I think that would be really fun.
Yeah, I think it would be really fun too. I mean, we got to bring us back into our human sometimes, and there's no better way to do that than through laughter and play and just that inner child, just funness. So I'm so down for that. Also, little announcement, we are taking the podcast on tour in a couple of weeks. I don't know if you guys saw our stories. We are so freaking excited, a little bit nervous, a little bit scared, a little bit intrigued to see how it's going to play out. But we actually got invited by Spotify to a VIP collaborated or creators event, and we're really excited. So we're planning to meet up for the first time in person. If you guys didn't know, we actually haven't met in person before, and I think that blows. Like, I talked to a couple of people and they're like, how have you not met?
I know.
I'm like,
I know. Literally, so many people ask me, they're like, oh, does Tanita not live in Sydney? I'm like, no, she doesn't. We don't catch up. I mean, your partner thinks that we're dating, so
I know. He's like, I need to come on this trip with you. Now I'm understanding why.
That's why he's coming. He's coming because he's like, look, I'm a bit worried about their connection here. Like, I just got to suss things out, make sure everything's okay.
Oh, that's so funny. Literally, I was like, I'm trying to convince her to move, and he's like, why? I don't know. I'm like, just stay out of it, bro. I love you.
He's like, no, because if she does, I will never see her again.
Yeah, literally. But anyway, he will not see me on this whole trip that you're there. I'm excited.
It'll be fun.
It's going to be so much fun.
It will be fun, and it means that we can also record in person for the first time, and hopefully not the last. So that will definitely be interesting and a whole lot of fun. We'll have to make sure that we curate that episode and
for sure. You guys should let us know what we should talk about when we're actually in person, because that can be really fun. But this has been a great chat. I really needed a laugh today. I think we needed to break out of the intense energy of the new moon. So this is really good. But we appreciate you guys so much. We hope that you laughed a little bit, got to reflect a little bit today, and we will see you next week. If you know anybody who would also enjoy this episode, please make sure to share. We're on Anchor, Spotify, YouTube. Oh my god, I'm doing what Aleisha does every single week. It's just the end of the podcast kind of vibe. We're on all the platforms, and you can find us on the Divinely Human Podcast on Instagram. Oh, so funny.
Peace out.
Bye.